Well, hello, everyone. Good to be with you again today for a little devotional time. Wow, we had our first worship service yesterday in 16 weeks in person wise. And it was wonderful to see the folks that came. If you did not come because you were worried about it being too crowded and all that, we had about 60 people, a little less, at each of our services, which is about 25% of our building's capacity. So very safe to come and not have to worry too much. Everybody, I think, wore a mask, and it was a wonderful time of gathering together and hearing the Lord's word and partaking of the sacrament. If you still need to stay away, I totally get it. That wasn't meant to be a guilt trip on you or for you, but it was sure good to see everyone that did come. We had a good showing of folks that did watch either one or the other of the worship services online. And that's wonderful to see as well. We even picked up some new subscribers to our YouTube channel. So that was a really encouraging day all the way around. So great. We're on the road back, and God willing, and with your prayers, we'll continue to make strides toward coming back fully as God allows us to. We have been in our devotional time, devotional journey these last couple of days in the book of Philippians, and I want to go to the kind of the end of the book of Philippians today for one last jaunt into what Paul wrote to the church at Philippi. Philippians chapter 4, if you got a Bible with you. And I'm going to be looking at beginning with verse 10, where Paul writes, and he says, I rejoice greatly in the Lord that at last you have renewed your concern for me. Indeed, you have been concerned, but you had no opportunity to show it. I'm not saying this because I am in need, for I have learned to be content whatever the circumstances. I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. I can do everything through him who gives me strength. Or as it was in an older translation, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Wow. We're going to stop there for a minute here. And just some good words from Paul and from the Holy Spirit. He says, I have learned to be content whatever the circumstances. Have you? Or are you always wishing for something to be different? Are you always wishing for when you X, or when Y happens, or if only then you could be content? We all fall into that trap, or we have all fallen into that trap probably many times in our lives. I know I have. I'll be happy when. And you know what? When comes and when happens, and we find ourselves not happy still. Because whenever we wait for something to happen outside of God coming again to rescue us and take us home, we're going to be disappointed in worldly things. If I could only get my car paid off, or if I could only get my house paid off, or if I'd only feel better from this sickness that I have, or if you're like me, I got a little bit of sun on the beach last Friday, and I got a little bit of sunburn on my arms and up here on the shoulders, and so it's like, oh, if I would be so much happier if that sunburn just went away. Those things will all happen, but they won't make anything better, really. They won't do anything to change our contentedness. Paul says, I have learned to be content in whatever the circumstances. And then he even explains, lest we kind of rush to judgment and say, well, yeah, Paul, but you didn't really know. And he says, I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. He lived high on the hog, and he lived with nothing. He knew both extremes and everything in the middle. And he says, I've learned the secret. And then he tells us what the secret is. I'm going to tell you and remind you what the secret to living a contented life is. In any and every situation, he says, whether well fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. Here it is. Some of you probably know this verse, and it's in your heart. I can do everything through him who gives me strength. That's the bottom line. We keep our eyes on Christ, we can do anything. We keep our hearts connected to Christ and to the gospel and in prayer. We keep our focus on the Father, and we can do anything. And he grants us contentment, because when it comes right down to it, God really is all that we need. He's everything we need. He will provide all the rest of the stuff. So if you're struggling with a little discontentedness, maybe take a quick peek inside and go, where are my eyes focused? Am I focused on comparing what I have to what others have? That's not a good thing. You're never going to be content in that scenario. Are my eyes focused on the problems of the world? We talked about that in the sermon yesterday. It's not going to happen. You need to unplug from the news media. You need to unplug from social media for a while, maybe. And God will help restore that contentedness that he so wants you to have in him. We can do it all things, everything through Christ, through him who gives us strength. So may your eyes be on him, and may you be strong in Christ. It's his will for us. Enjoy connecting with God and taking your eyes off of the stuff and putting them on Jesus. God's blessings to you.